Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Alice Rouse. You guys know, author of this little guy right here. These other little books, couple more of these coming on the way. Where you can get that, my funny as hell merchandise, everything down in that description. So go down, fiddle about, check it all out. And as always, I like to start by being so thankful, and I'd want to welcome all the new people who are subscribing, everybody who's just finding me, lurking, coming from the Soft White Belly interview. Welcome, you guys. And thank you for all of you guys for being, who's down there in the comments. Thank you for being so kind, so wonderful, so engaging and sharing yourselves with me. It really, truly means, this is why I call us a family here, because we have a comfort zone here, and everybody does, to share their stories, share their lives. I am so happy that this has been the result, to meet a lot of great new people, to add to the family. It has been such a wonderful experience at Soft White Underbelly. So thankful to Mark and C. Noel and everybody over at Soft White Underbelly. You guys have, I just am very, very thankful for that. And very, very thankful for everybody who's been here from the beginning to today. Just thank you guys so much. You rock. You really, really do. And talking about rock, it's Soft White Underbelly. A lot of the comments I got were, she thinks they dated. What do you mean I think? So we're going to talk today about what dating is in rock and roll. And I've done this episode before, so some of you who have been around here for the beginning, my elder family members, that we've done this episode before, and we get it. And there's a lot of groupies here, and ladies, if you're just joining us, if you've been around for a while, talk down, ladies and guys, musicians, talk about it in the comments, because I think people have such a preconceived notion of things because of movie, because of society, because when somebody writes an article, it's geared towards they don't let people be themselves. They tell the story for people. Well, we got to stop doing that. We got to let people tell their stories. Period. I got to tell mine, and I'm fucking thankful as hell for that. Here, there, and other platforms. Oh, and speaking of other platforms, tonight, you guys, tonight, at 8 p.m. my time, Salt Lake City, Utah, where I'm at today, California time, 7 p.m., gonna be on TikTok, my very first live on TikTok. Going to be doing an interview with Psycho Friend 13. I'll put the link down in the description. I'm so excited. So see you guys in a few hours. Going to be fun. I love getting to know people. So I'm really excited for it. So thank you for having me on Psycho Friend 13. I really appreciate it. Okay. You know what I always appreciate is some good beer. And today we've seen this one quite a lot, my bourbon barrel quad. But I always do talk about the IBUs and stuff. And this label, like some labels will have it. Pause to read. So like I say, the like stouts, ales, lagers, they'll be very low on the IBU scale. Like this one's only a 26.6. So this is not hoppy. This is not brewed as an IPA, anything like that, but it is a very high fucking alcohol content. I like that, though. That's what I love about these. So there you guys go. The label just fell off, or else I would have held up the bottle. So, but yeah, this kind of, and Brewhead's down in there. You know. But all right. So everybody, we're going to talk about dating and rock and roll. What was the theme of the dating game? Mwah! So all right, so everybody flip on the dating game, kick up your heels. Why is this not coming off? And let's have a little cocktails, rocktails. All right. You can't really hear this one pour because it's not super foamy, and it's not going to be because of the barrel soak on it, because it is a bourbon soak, which I love. Like I say, I'm a bitch for a bourbon soak. So, all right, everybody, kick up your heels. Cheers, big ears. I so love this one. It is so good. I have to keep them out of arm's reach because you know me with my hands. Anyway, so, okay, let's talk about dating and rock and roll. Because a lot of people who have opinion on it, they've never been backstage. They've never dated a rock star. They don't know what it's like. It's not conventional because it can't be. We don't live in the same city. Long before people were meeting each other online and having long distance relationships, This is what groupies were doing. We weren't meeting online because we didn't have it back then, but we were meeting at the hotel bar, you know? So, and before you like want to, you just groupies, you're just jump offs. How the fuck do you think the wives and girlfriends met their rock stars? Backstage. Groupies, we just choose not to get into serious relationships with them. We just choose to have the relationships that are our own making. Don't have to be conventional. The women who marry the rock stars, they want the conventional, and that's okay. But how do you think we all meet the rock stars? At the Rainbow Bar and Grill? Yeah, that happens in LA. At the airport while they're on the road. You know what they do? They fly them out. Okay, but let's get into dating, because wives, groupies, girlfriends, we all have the same dating experience. People like to pit the wives and girlfriends against each other because they think that just because they married them, these women should be turned into the, Madonnas, and we're the whores. We're the Mary Magdalenes. Actually, we're Philates, the Greek the goddess Philates. Look her up. She's awesome. God, I am so sorry about that. Choking. That's my allergies. My throat gets dry. It's so dry here where I live. And just the slightest piece of dust. It's been like this since I moved here, even in high school. I would just start coughing in the middle of class. I was so embarrassed. So sorry. But okay. So let's kind of start at the beginning. Let's start at how we all meet the rock stars. The hotel bar. Backstage at the gig. But let's say it's a day off at the hotel bar. So the groupies, we wander in, because all wives and girlfriends start off as groupies. But we all wander into the hotel bar. We're hanging out. They buy us drinks. Much like when just normal people, and I do this all the time, just walk into a bar without rock stars, and meet people and have a nice conversation. Couple guys might buy me drinks, just the same as the rock stars do. We walk into that hotel bar, sit down at the bar, order a drink. Either wait for the boys to come in, or we see them and we put them ourselves in their sights. So always make those rock stars approach you. I talk about this in How to Flirt with the Rock Star 101, one of my little mini ebooks that I'm going to turn into paperbacks, but very limited number. But anyway, so you meet them at the hotel bar. You're having drinks. You're hanging out. You're having a good time. You might order some nibblies, because a lot of hotel bars have nibblies. They have menus. So you're hanging out. So that's dinner and drinks, right? That's just exactly what normal people do when meeting someone, or just going on a more casual date. You don't want to commit to dinner. Just we already had dinner before we walked in the hotel bar. So that's kind of technically the first date, right? So you meet the rock star, you're at the hotel bar, you hang out, you have a few drinks, a few nibblies. You and your friends are all mixing, coordinating, having a good time, laughing, getting to know each other. There's chemistry, okay. You go upstairs, you do your thing, stay the night. Like a lot of people do. Normal people, this could be any bar, anywhere in the world. Mine just happens to be at the hotel with the rock stars. So you do that. Then your second date, technically, you wake up in the morning with them and you have breakfast. There's another meal you have that he pays for. You order some room service. He's got your name for the guest list. You go home, get ready for the next date. And let me explain it to you like this. When you guys are taking your dates to the concert, that's a date. When the rock stars are taking us to a concert, that's bring your groupie to work day. Yeah, because we're going to work with them. You guys are going to relax, to kick back, to enjoy the music. They're creating it. They're like, rock and roll starts at 7 a.m. and goes to 2 a.m. It's a all day, what is it? So gosh, that's like almost a 24-hour job. That's a 19-hour job. But anyway, so your next date, right, is at the concert. Like a lot of you guys taking dates to the concerts. But we don't date, they don't date us. They don't date us. No, that's bringing the groupie to work day. That's bringing your girl to work day, right? So we go to the concert, you're hanging out, you're having a good time. Technically, we have our third date after the concert because it's all pre-planned. We're invited. Do you want to come hang out with me today? Sounds like how you ask for a date, right? So pretty much then we go back to the hotel bar, go to sleep. We third date technically is breakfast the next morning. And it's like, I love the mornings because if they have to, checkout isn't really till about 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock, depending. And you can get a late checkout from 1 o'clock, and most rock stars, most hotels do, or most tours are booked with the late checkouts. But most of the guys got to be out at 6 a.m. They're like, it's okay, just hang out until checkouts at 1. Just leave the key on the table. So it's like, yeah. Just like, by your third week of dating, you trust the woman to stay at your house when you have to go run some errands. Oh, just stay in bed. I'll go get stuff for breakfast. Again, not too unsimilar than an average normal date, right? So, but in rock and roll, we are accelerated because you have 24 to 48 hours with this person. They are leaving town. If you got to decide how much you like him. Do you want to exchange numbers? Do you want this person to come into your life on the road, or are you comfortable going out onto the road with this person? Because a couple things. Number one, you're trusting your life with this person. You're getting on a plane that they book, because ladies, you know what to say. If a rock star says you should come see me on the road, say make it happen. He'll book your ticket. Okay. Dating advice number 1. Groupie tip number 97,512. Okay. But, paragraph B. But yeah, say make it happen. So he's spending money on you to come out and see him. That's dating in rock and roll. I know usually that's not dating in a normal date. But like I said, things are accelerated in rock and roll. They're going to leave town. What if you really had chemistry? What if you really enjoyed each other's company? What if you felt really comfortable? What if you felt that spark? Because rock stars and groupies and wives and girlfriends, we all have sparks when we're meeting someone new, when we're physically attracted, when we are talking to them and beginning to get to really know them. So you have to decide somewhere between either, because sometimes they leave right after the gig at 2 o'clock in the morning. So you have to decide somewhere between the night before at the bar and when they leave in that 24 hours if you're going to see each other again. Yeah, because when you see each other again, like I said, your lives, your safety, the roof over your head, making sure you get home safe, especially when I first started hanging out and I was in high school. And I would tell my mom I would go camping because that happened. That really happened. Because it was the 80s. It was Utah. It was no big thing in the summer to go camping. It wasn't during the school year. It was summer, of course. I had my own rules. Had my boundaries. Only on weekends in the school year. Couple weeks at a time in the summer. But that was only, Anyway, so, and when you're going to him, he's trusting you with his privacy, with the real intimacy. And I don't mean physical. I mean, because once you walk in that hotel room on your third date, guess what? You're fucking living with that guy. You are with him 24/7. You are sharing the same roof over your head. And if you're going out there for a couple weeks, oh yeah, you are confined in this tiny little bubble. You are never 20 feet away from that person. You are moved in. Stuff is packed. You guys are in this tiny little bubble. Like I said, you're never 20 feet apart. You've got a shit, shower, shave, snore, everything. That you don't feel comfortable for a few months. You know what I mean? Like we get up, sure, we look cute, brush our teeth, jump in the shower, put on a little makeup, go to brunch sometimes, if we're really digging the person. But, I mean, this is a rock star. So, of course, we all have natural, insecurities. We all have natural habits, and opening someone up to that is a big vulnerability, especially when you're just getting to know someone and dating, and you've only spent 48 hours with them. Like I said, it's accelerated. It's so accelerated, because not only are you living together, but you're also going to work with him. You have to go to, if you want to, sometimes I would go to the interviews with them. Sometimes I would stay back at the hotel with them. And you always have a babysitter if you do. But so you have about 48 hours and 12 minutes to decide if you want to see each other again. And then when you do, you've got to decide how comfortable you are in your own fucking skin. And how much you're going to show all your vulnerabilities and habits to this guy and vice versa. So he's got your whole life in his hands. Yeah, make sure you're getting home in one piece. You're getting home safe. You're going to be fed, showered, cuddled, spoiled, taken care of. And to the person who said, it doesn't look like she ever went shopping for anything luxury at the rock stars. First of all, I was raised with money. I made my own money. I didn't need to. Got my own Gucci boots, Fendi purses, and my own Hermes. My money. Because that's one thing the rock stars did like about me. It wasn't about the money, ever. Ever. It was about the person that they were, which is so much part of dating, right? Normal dating. It's just normal dating. But I didn't need them to, and who says that they didn't? I mean, they were buying me first class tickets at $1,500 a pop. We were sleeping in the top hotel suite. I have a very rich passport and very rich memories. Nothing wrong with that. I bought me my own fucking luxury brand, sweetie. Good Lord. Anyway, but so when you get to that hotel room, you're trusting him, and it's going to be a little bit kind of, just like when you're going over to someone's house the first time, but you're not leaving. You don't get to go home to your own house. You're out on the road for 2 weeks. You're confined in the hotel room. You're on the tour bus. You're in this tiny little fucking 9-seater plane sometimes. You're just in this whole little bubble with him, and you're basically trusting and allowing this person into your life in ways that it would take months to let anybody else into your life while you're dating. But make no mistake, that is part of dating. It's just accelerated in the rock world. And we go to dinner, we go to date, we go to breakfast, we go to lunch, we sightsee. My lunch may be in Paris or New York City with fucking Vinnie Paul or Steve Jones or fucking whoever, Rick Savage, whoever. John Taylor. Duran. Sorry, I was just thinking New York. So, yeah, we are going out on dates because they're paying for drinks, for lunches, for dinners. We see movies. Sometimes we just stay in the hotel room, order room service, watch a movie, talk, hang out, get to know each other. Sounds like dating. And to the person that said Vinnie Paul called someone up in every city, no, the fuck he didn't. He didn't have that many women after him. I'm just kidding. I mean, Rex King had like almost zero women. The one woman he had that would still wanted him needed the money, and he married her. Some Brazilian chick. But anyway, she's beautiful. I don't know what the fuck she sees in that man. But anyway, then we exchange home phone numbers. Nice dating. Before there were text messages, there were Sky pagers that these rock stars had all over the world. So all you would have to do is like call and leave a message, and it would have them call, check that message, and they would call you back in 15 minutes. You're exchanging information so you can see each other again, so you can spend time, so you can have, see what you have in common. So sounds like dating, doesn't it? It kind of does, right? Like I said, yours are, for those people who are the haters, your dates are at Olive Garden. Mine are at fucking Paris. Mine are in New York at the fucking Russian tea room. Mine are in fucking LA. At the Sunset Marquee usually. And the Rainbow, but that was in the daytime with the family. So, like I said, it's just because there's different logistics, and nobody's better for the type of dates they have. Don't get me wrong. A date is a date is a date, no matter where it happens. We still go out with each other. I still have dinner and drinks. I still go on little dates. We just don't go to bed together anymore, because, well, not all the time. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's a very confined world. And like I said, there's a big trust that a lot of people won't have for months on end that we have to have on the third date, walking into that confined world, walking into that hotel room, being in their world by their side at all times, having someone take care of you when they are on stage or when they're at a sorry, my necklace keeps the diamonds. But yeah, this is made from my grandmother to my mom. But anyway, so yeah, what else? I have my notes here. But yeah, like I said, we have to share a trust and a vulnerability and space and lives. I mean, so many girls are like, what do? I have to go to the bathroom really bad. Turn on the fan on the water, sweet pea. But usually if you're in the hotel suite instead of like just the king regular room, which you're gonna be in a mix of both, so you got to get used to the kind of close proximity that you're always going to be with. I mean, this is how much faith and trust you have to have in that person. This is how much you have to like that person to either fly them out, spend $1,500 fucking dollars for a ticket to fly them out, and then to get on that plane. And like I said, we're vacationing with these guys too, which a lot of couples wait months to go on their first weekend together. Like first vacations, weekends, that's a big, big thing. But we're headed in and out of towns in 24 to 48 hours at a time. We may be in New York for 3 days, but then we're going to be in Boston for 24 hours, then headed over to Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut, then over to Michigan, down to Fargo, and back to, back to whatever, Texas somewhere, get on the plane, go back to Salt Lake. 2 weeks later, do the same thing, but on, north. So we're also vacationing together. We constantly have to be on the move. You could only bring a limited amount of luggage. Like you have one little suitcase and a carry-on. Like just that's it. So you've got to get through all the dynamics of airports and private planes and tour buses, and especially on the tour bus, oh my God, you're all of a sudden with all of his friends. The rest of the band. And you're shoved in this little fucking bunk next to him. There is nothing more intimate than being shoved in a bunk that's what? I mean, it's a little bit bigger. It's a twin bed, basically. And just think a twin bed squared. That's what you're in with that person. That's dating in rock and roll. You got to trust that person because you're going to stink and fart and have body sounds and snores and other people all around you while you're sleeping. If you're on the bus, because not all bands have private planes. A lot of them have buses. And not all the rock stars I knew had big buses, because a lot of them that I knew were just up and coming. So you're also having to sometimes share hotel rooms with somebody. But if you come out, they'll usually get your own hotel room. So yeah, you're going out to do things together. You're going out to get to know each other. You're flying out because there was a chemistry with you guys. It's like I said, you're doing all this stuff in such a short amount of time. Then most people take this. That's the only difference. In rock and roll, it's not just hotel bar, let me suck your dick. I know that people think that that's what my book sounds like because I gave all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And it's not even half the story. I didn't give any of the intimate details of my relationships, and I'm not talking sexual, but because I needed to keep something for myself. So when you watch movies, people have no problem saying, oh, Almost Famous, the groupies were so glorified. Yeah, well, I was going to say I never lost anybody in a poker game, but that's a lie. I lost Danny in a poker game to Tico Torres, and they dated for 9 months. Calling each other, talking to each other late night on the phone. We do this stuff. Letting you know, hey, I'm moving to another city, or coming to say, because back then we didn't have cell phones. Exchanging home phone numbers. I went home with Vincent Paul. I've been to Steve Jones's house. I've been to the UK to a couple other rockers' house. John and I planned. Like, John and I didn't see each other on the road much. And Twistle. We spent most of our 13 years hanging out on the sly. If I was in London and he could get away, he was in London, hanging out with me at the Savoy. While I was doing a feature show, or doing a shoot for, Loaded or Skin 2 or whatever. Platinum, whatever, because I did a lot of magazines, so I had my own world. Or we'd cross each other on the road, or he'd be in LA just doing some business for about a week, and or when we did the very first, it was all planned. It was, hey, I'm going to be in town. We're gonna go out on dates. Yes, we will go out on dates. Because make no mistake, we date in rock and roll. It's just not conventional, and it's not always in the same city. And let me tell you, it's a whole other world being on that tour bus or even on the plane with the guys for a few hours. Because then from the second you meet them, you're part of their friend group. You're part of their clique. You know everybody. And a lot of times you don't introduce them to your friends for a few months. This is the third date, the first date, the second date. You are in the world with their friends. You're on vacation. You're traveling with them and their friends. And they're great guys. They're very protective. They're very chivalrous. They're very comfortable and everything to be around. So yeah, we date. But like I said, it's just in different cities in 24 hours at a time. And things can move things progress a lot faster. I always have lipstick on my glass. But things progress a lot faster. You have to have a certain trust that most people, you guys get to go home after your dates if that's what you choose. And you can take it slower or you can take it faster. But like I said, rock and roll, it's all fast track. And this is how the wives and girlfriends meet their mans too. So, ladies, other ladies who have dated those rockers, tell me about the dates that we went on. Tell me about the vacations you took with the rock stars, either on the road or off the road. Tell me how they invited you out. Like Desiree, LA with Al Stewart. He took her to his home. They went out to dinner. He introduced her to her friends. There's a whole episode about it. We date them. So, and I think society, and I think part of what I really am doing with this channel and with, the soft white underbelly and stuff, is I do want people to know that groupies aren't the disposable fucking hoes you think we are. I know you've been told that to think that from, like the movie Rockstar, where the groupies are just a fucking parody of, and the wives are riding in limos in the back of the bus. Really? Really? Women are not disposable in rock and roll, not even the groupies. In fact, we are spoiled. We are coddled because they know this world out on the road can be exhausting and mentally, it weighs on you mentally, emotionally. You're constantly having to be on, and people are always looking at you with your man because you're walking through the lobby, you're walking through the restaurant to go be seated at your table and holding hands, because we do hold hands. We do hug in front of people. We do kiss in front of people. We don't hide anything. We're dating. Just because we part ways for a month or year, who cares? We're still dating. Like I said, Vinnie Paul, whenever he would disappear out of, because Vin was kind of notorious once in a while for just sort of disappearing. A lot of times he'd be in Vegas with me, hanging out at my pad, gambling, going out to dinner, watching movies, just fucking getting away from all of it. Sanctuary. And by the time you move, if you ever do live with the rocker, the women who do choose to marry them and to be their girlfriends and move in with them, you're already fucking used to them because you've already lived with them out on the road. You already been living together. You've already been traveling together. You've already been an integral part of their friendship group. Yeah. But like I said, as groupies go, we just choose not to marry them. We choose to have a lot of lovers, to have different adventures with, to have different vibes with, to have, because there's different chemistry no matter who you are and how we date. You're not going to have the same chemistry as them and someone else, or you and someone else. Your chemistry with each person in each is a different dynamic. Your dynamic is different. How you interact can be different. And that's how you find out who you're most comfortable with. And sometimes you're just comfortable with a lot of different things, and you don't want to have that commitment in your life. You have a certain commitment to that person when you're with them. You're in a relationship. You don't date other guys. You don't look at other guys. You don't go sleeping with other guys because you don't have time, because you're living with them on your third date. So there you go. But like I said, other ladies, other musicians, other guys, everybody tell me what your dating was like in rock and roll. Because like I said, I think part of all this is to educate people what groupies really are. We're not the parody. We're not the disposable getting, and I say this like she got ditched by being lost in a poker game. She was bet to be ditched. Danny was not bet to be ditched. It was Tico wanted to win her heart. And he did. He won it because when we were out of breakfast, after the poker game broke up at 6 a.m. because we were kicked out of the concierge so they could serve their free breakfast to the concierge floor. At breakfast, when he was taking us all out to breakfast, or, well, Tico and Richie ended up paying for it. But anyway, he was reading us the Wild Bill story of the... But anyway, so yeah, I mean, we're not disposable. We actually have friendships and relationships with these guys. They look forward to seeing us when they're just through the chaos and they have a couple days off, 2-3 days off in your city. And in the 80s, a lot of rockers would take 2-3 days off in Salt Lake City. So we had more time to go up the Alpine Slide or to go tour the Mormon temple or, go fishing. Hendrik always liked to go fishing. Sounds like dating to me. Down in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how you dated. Let's compare notes. Normal dating, because I've been on normal dates. Walked out on one because he was like, well, it's the playoffs for the basketball. I said, we don't have to go out. We can wait till after the playoff. Because he worked with two of my sisters who worked at the same company at the time. Kept seeing a picture of me. Wanted to go out and go on a date with me. And I'll tell you what, no rock star would have ever done this. And he just sat there looking at and we met at a sports bar. Because I was like, cool, you can watch the game there. We can talk a little bit. But no, there was no talking because he was just so enthralled in the game. And that's cool. Just don't come out on a date when you're enthralled in the playoffs. That's okay to be, just stay home. They're only going to last a few days. We can reschedule. But I walked out on that date because he wasn't paying the kind of attention to me that I was used to having from the rockers. So, all right. And thank you guys so much for getting to the end of this episode with me. I really appreciate it. I mean, it amazes me that, I can get people to listen to me. I just babbled. So thank you so much, you guys. Oh, and, a lot of people are like, well, they have wives at home. No. Steve Jones, never married. Definitely no girlfriend since Chrissy Hind. Oh, no, that was Nina. Nina was the other woman he saw seriously for a while, and then some other girl, Natasha. Glenn Tipton, divorced. James Hetfield wasn't married. Vinnie Paul, never married, no kids. Yeah, we were so young back in the day. Nobody was married back then. And we had to rely on them to tell us whether or not they have girlfriends. So, yeah, we actually date them. Just like when you guys cheat on your girls. But anyway, so all right, you guys, thank you again. And if you're just wandering over here and hanging out and just curious, keep on watching. Have any questions? I'm always responsive down in those comments. I'm always happy to have a conversation. I'm always happy to meet new people. So hit the subscribe, you guys. Get in those comments. Hit the share. Let's keep growing the channel and hit my bells. We'll see you next time on Cocktails and Mocktails. Cheers, big ears.